Surface-level solipsism. Surface-level solipsism is the philosophical equivalent of suspecting you might be the only player in a massive open-world game. Everyone else? They're just NPCs, non-player characters. This isn't the deep, terrifying conviction that reality is a figment of your imagination. It's much more subtle. It's that fleeting feeling you get in a crowded train station, looking at a sea of faces and thinking, are they all really thinking, feeling, and worrying with the same intensity as me? Or are they just background scenery? You experience your own consciousness as a constant, chaotic, vibrant symphony. You have memories, inside jokes, secret fears, and a rich internal monologue that never stops. But when you look at someone else, the barista who recites the same 3 phrases every morning, the coworker who seems to run on a predictable script of complaints and pleasantries, it's easy to wonder if their lights are truly on. You can't access their inner world. All you get is the output, the dialogue. And sometimes that dialogue feels a little limited. Imagine you're in a dream. The people you meet there seem real, they talk to you, they react. But upon waking, you realize they were all just hollow projections of your own mind, puppets in your personal theater. Surface-level solipsism is the unsettling feeling that you might not have woken up all the way, that the people you interact with every day are just more convincing dream characters.
It's born from a simple, inescapable truth. You are trapped inside your own head. You are the permanent, first-person protagonist of your life story. You can listen to others, you can empathize, you can try to understand, but you can never, ever directly experience another person's consciousness. You can only take their word for it. So you watch them go about their day, following their programmed paths from home to work and back again. And for a brief, strange moment, the world feels incredibly lonely. It feels like a vast, complex simulation built for an audience of one, a perfectly rendered, utterly convincing, and ultimately solitary experience designed just for you.
The NPC theory. You've felt it before. That flicker of doubt when someone gives you a canned, pre-programmed response to a genuine question. The cashier who recites the same 3 lines to every customer, their eyes looking past you. The coworker who cycles through the same 5 anecdotes in the break room. It's the unsettling feeling that you're the only one improvising while everyone else is reading from a script. In video games, an NPC or non-player character is a background figure. They walk a set path, have limited dialogue, and exist only to populate the world for the real player, you. They're convincing enough at a glance, but if you stop and watch them, you see the loop, you see the code. The NPC theory is the terrifying idea that this concept doesn't stop at the screen. It's the modern digital age name for an old philosophical horror, solipsism, the belief that your mind is the only one that truly exists. Think about it. How many people do you interact with each day who seem to be running on a simple program? They exist in your story only when you need them. The barista who materializes to make your coffee, the delivery driver who appears with your food, and then they vanish from your reality. You don't wonder about their rich inner lives, their hopes, their fears. Why would you? They're just part of the scenery, the backdrop to your personal journey.
This theory suggests that these aren't conscious beings with a universe of thoughts inside their heads just like you. Instead, they are complex automatons, biological puppets animated by a simple set of rules and social scripts designed to make the world feel real and populated for you. They can mimic emotion, simulate conversation, and follow routines. But there's no pilot. There's no ghost in their machine. There's just the program. Of course, the most chilling part of this thought experiment is turning it back on yourself. If everyone else could just be a convincing simulation, what proof do you have that you aren't one too? Perhaps you're just a highly advanced NPC in someone else's game.
convinced of your own main character status right up until the moment your script runs out.
The Truman Show delusion is the chilling, persistent belief that your life is a staged reality show. You are the unknowing star, and every single person you interact with, your parents, your best friend, the stranger you just passed on the street, is a paid actor playing a part. Your greatest triumphs and most private heartbreaks are not your own. They are scripted plot points, broadcast for the entertainment of a vast, unseen audience. This isn't just a fun thought experiment. For some, it becomes a terrifying reality. The term was coined by psychiatrists after the 1998 film, as they began seeing patients with a delusion that mirrored the movie's plot with uncanny precision. Imagine the paranoia. Every conversation feels rehearsed. Every coincidence feels like a cue. That car that's been behind you for 3 blocks? That's not a coincidence, it's a production vehicle. The argument you just had with your partner? It was manufactured drama to boost ratings. The world becomes a soundstage, and you are desperately searching for the seams, the hidden cameras, the exit door. What makes this delusion so potent in our modern world is how plausible it can feel. We live in an age of surveillance, social media, and curated personal brands. We are all, in a sense, performing. We broadcast our lives, carefully editing the narrative. The Truman Show delusion takes this feeling to its absolute extreme. It's a cocktail of grandiose thinking, my life is so important it's being televised, and intense persecutory paranoia, everyone is in on a secret to deceive me. It's a uniquely modern twist on age-old anxieties about authenticity and control. It's solipsism with a Hollywood budget. The fear isn't just that you're alone in the universe, but that you're alone in a room full of people who are all looking at you, following a script you can't read. The ultimate question it forces you to ask is a terrifying one. If everyone else is an actor, a kind of highly advanced NPC in your personal simulation, does that make your life a masterpiece or just a prison with invisible walls?
The Matrix analogy. The Matrix analogy. What if the taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the subtle texture of a page under your fingertips, what if it were all just lines of code? An incredibly sophisticated simulation designed to feel completely, utterly real for its one true inhabitant, you. This idea, popularized by the iconic film, isn't just science fiction. It's a powerful philosophical thought experiment. It presents you with a choice, symbolized by the red pill and the blue pill. You can take the blue pill and remain in blissful ignorance. You accept the world exactly as it appears. The job, the relationships, the daily routines, they all continue, unquestioned and comforting in their predictability. Or you could take the red pill. You could choose to see the fundamental truth of your existence, to wake up from the dream, no matter how jarring or isolating that awakening might be. It's the ultimate choice between a beautiful lie and a terrifying truth. And in this simulation, what are other people? This is where the analogy deepens into the idea of NPCs. Are they conscious beings like you? Or are they simply advanced programs, their conversations pre-scripted, their actions governed by algorithms, all designed to populate your world and make it feel alive? Think about a moment of intense déjà vu. The movie calls this a glitch in the Matrix.
Or a time you had a conversation that felt strangely circular, as if the person was drawing from a limited set of responses. These are the supposed cracks in the facade, brief moments where the code stutters, revealing the artificial nature of everything you hold dear. The truly maddening part of the Matrix analogy is that it's impossible to disprove. How could you ever test it from the inside? Any evidence you find, any scientific experiment you run, any person you confide in, it could all just be part of the simulation's programming, designed to reinforce your belief in its legitimacy. The system is the perfect prison because you don't even know you're in it. And so the question remains hanging in the air, a whisper in the back of your mind. If you were the sole conscious observer in a world built for one, and someone offered you the choice to see behind the curtain, which pill would you take? Would you really want to wake up?
Methodological solipsism. Methodological solipsism isn't the terrifying belief that you're the only person who truly exists. It's something far more subtle and far more useful, a tool. It's a rule for a game you didn't even know you were playing, the game of trying to know anything for certain. Imagine you're a scientist in a perfectly sealed laboratory. You can run any experiment you want, but only with the equipment you have inside. The only data you can be 100% sure of is the data generated within your lab. You might see a flashing light on an external monitor, but you can't be sure if it's a person signaling you, a machine, or it's just a random glitch. All you know for sure is that you are perceiving a flashing light. Your mind is that sealed laboratory. Methodological solipsism is the discipline of saying, for the purpose of understanding knowledge, I will start by only accepting my own mental states as undeniably real. It's not that you deny an external world exists, you just put that belief in a separate box labeled assumptions. So, when you look at a friend and they smile, what do you actually experience? You see the shape of their mouth change. You hear a sound. You feel a sense of warmth. You don't directly experience their happiness. You experience your perception of their smile. And from that, you make a very, very good guess that they are happy. This is where the NPC idea comes in, not as a belief, but as a boundary.
From this strict philosophical standpoint, the consciousness of every other person is an inference, not a direct piece of data. You only have one data point for what consciousness feels like from the inside, your own. This isn't meant to make you paranoid. It's a tool for radical honesty. It forces you to ask, if my own mind is my unshakable starting point, how do I build a bridge to believe in the reality of others? It reveals that your entire universe is built upon a single foundation, your own subjective experience. It's the profound realization that you are the sole primary witness to your own reality. You aren't the only actor in the movie, but you are the only guaranteed member of the audience.
The problem of other minds. The problem of other minds is that quiet, unsettling question that flickers in your mind when you're in a crowded room. You see the smiles, you hear the laughter, you watch people have what look like deep, meaningful conversations. But how do you know there's an actual conscious mind behind any of those faces? You are absolutely certain of one thing in this entire universe: your own consciousness. You feel the warmth of the sun, the sting of a paper cut, the complex swirl of nostalgia. You have a rich, private world of thoughts and sensations that is undeniably real to you. But for everyone else, you can only ever see the outside. Think of your mind as a sealed room that you can never leave. You can hear noises from other rooms, see shadows under their doors, but you can never, ever step inside to see if anyone is actually there. All you have to go on is their behavior. When your friend stubs their toe and yells, you assume they're feeling pain because that's what you would do. But it's just an inference, a guess based on your own experience. You're watching a performance and assuming there's a real actor behind the mask. This is the chilling core of the philosophical zombie thought experiment. Imagine a person who is physically and behaviorally identical to a conscious human. They laugh at your jokes with perfect timing. They cry at sad movies, tears streaming down their face. They can debate philosophy and tell you they love you.
But inside, there's nothing, no experience, no awareness, just a complex biological machine running an incredibly sophisticated script. In modern terms, they are the ultimate non-player character, an NPC, perfectly programmed to simulate humanity. How could you ever prove they weren't one? You couldn't. You could scan their brain, and it would light up in all the right places. You could ask them, and they'd passionately insist they were conscious because that's what the program dictates. So every single day, we all make a profound leap of faith. We choose to believe that because other people look and act like us, their inner worlds are probably like ours too. This belief, this simple, unprovable trust, is the invisible foundation of all human relationships, of empathy, of society itself. Without it, you are utterly alone, a single point of light
in a universe of beautifully crafted, empty shells. As you drift off to sleep tonight, just consider the profound trust you place in the world every morning. It's a bridge you build yourself across an abyss of uncertainty you can never truly measure, hoping someone is on the other side to meet you.
Metaphysical solipsism. Metaphysical solipsism. It's the radical, deeply unsettling idea that your mind is the only thing that truly exists. Everything else you perceive, the world, the stars, the very device you're watching this on, is nothing more than a part of your own consciousness. Your friends, your family, the person who made your coffee this morning, they might not be conscious beings with their own inner lives. They might just be NPCs, non-player characters in the grand single-player game of you. The logic behind it is terrifyingly simple. You can only be absolutely certain of one thing: your own conscious experience. You feel your own joy, your own boredom, the specific ache in your back. You know you are thinking right now. But can you ever truly know what's going on inside someone else's head? You see them laugh at a joke, you hear them talk about their deepest fears, but you are only ever experiencing the output. You can never directly access their inner world, their qualia. It's like watching a character on a screen. They might act with incredible realism, but you can't prove there's a real person inside the machine. Think about the most vivid dream you've ever had. The characters in it felt real, didn't they? The conversations felt genuine. Their emotions impactful. But when you woke up, you knew they were all just projections of your own mind.
Solipsism simply asks, what if this waking life is just a far more elaborate, persistent dream from which you've never woken up? If that's true, it means every great work of art, every scientific discovery, every historical event was ultimately created by you. Your subconscious invented Beethoven's Fifth, crafted the pyramids, and wrote the plot twist in your favorite book that genuinely shocked you. This makes it a perfect philosophical prison. There is no logical escape hatch because it's completely unfalsifiable. If I were to sit here and passionately argue that I am conscious, that I have my own thoughts and feelings completely separate from yours, how would you know? From the solipsist perspective, my argument is simply part of the simulation. My words are just elegant code your mind is running to make the world more convincing. Any evidence brought against it, no matter how compelling, can be dismissed as just another feature of the all-encompassing dream. So while common sense screams against it, the idea rests on a crack in the foundation of reality we can't quite patch up. The absolute certainty of your own mind versus the profound, unprovable mystery of every other. The next time you look in the mirror, you're seeing the only confirmed player in the game. And as you look out at the world, at the billions of other faces, you're left with the ultimate, unanswerable question. Is anyone else really looking back? Or is it just you, all the way down?
Epistemological solipsism. It's the quiet, unnerving thought that the only thing you can ever be 100% certain of is that your own mind exists. How do you know that I'm real? Not just a voice, but a conscious being behind it. How do you know that your best friend, your family, or the stranger you passed on the street isn't just an elaborate puppet, and your mind is the only one pulling the strings? You can doubt nearly everything. The reality of the room you're in, the device you're listening on, even the memories you hold of your own childhood. They could all be part of an intricate dream or a simulation. But the one thing you cannot logically doubt is your own existence as a thinking entity. The philosopher René Descartes famously said, "I think, therefore I am." The very act of doubting proves there is a doubter. That's your anchor. It's the only piece of solid ground in a potential ocean of illusion. But that solid ground is an island, a party of one. As soon as you try to verify the consciousness of another person, you hit an unbreakable wall. You see them react.
You hear their arguments, you feel their touch, but all of that is just input, sights, sounds, sensations, filtered through your consciousness. It's like being the sole player in the most realistic open world game ever created. Everyone you meet is a non-player character, or an NPC. They might have flawless AI. They might cry when they're sad and laugh at your jokes. They might even talk about their own dreams and fears. But are they experiencing those things? Or are they just running a script designed to convince you, the protagonist, that the world is populated? You can't ever peek behind their eyes to see if there's a player there. Now, this doesn't mean you should start treating everyone like a robot. Epistemological solipsism isn't a claim that no one else is conscious. It's a more subtle and profound statement about the limits of knowledge. It's the humble and frankly terrifying admission that you can never prove they aren't NPCs. Your belief in other minds is ultimately a leap of faith, not a logical certainty. It's an assumption we all make to stay sane, to love, and to connect. So, the next time you share a moment with someone, recognize it for what it is: an act of profound trust in a reality you can never fully verify. You are choosing to believe you're not alone in the game. But the nagging question will always remain, a ghost in the machine of your own singular, isolated consciousness.
The laws of physics, in this view, aren't rigid rules governing dead matter. They are the grammar of this universal thought. Gravity isn't a force pulling objects together. It's simply part of the syntax for how this mind has decided to structure its own grand narrative. This flips our entire modern assumption on its head. We tend to believe there's a base layer of physical reality, atoms, energy, space-time, and that consciousness somehow, mysteriously, emerges from it. Idealism argues you have it completely backward. Consciousness is the fundamental bedrock. The physical world is what emerges from it. So when you look at another person, are you looking at a cleverly rendered NPC in a cosmic simulation? Or are you looking at another focal point of the very same universal mind that you are? Under idealism, the world isn't a cold, empty place full of mindless matter. It's a living thought, and perhaps you're not alone in it at all. You're just one character in a story being told to itself. Philosophical zombies. Philosophical zombies. They look like you, they talk like you, they might even cry at a sad movie just like you. But on the inside, there's nothing. No consciousness, no subjective experience, no one home. Imagine your closest friend. You share a history, inside jokes, deep secrets. Now, imagine they are a perfect biological machine, a flawless NPC in the game of life. They are programmed to laugh at the right moments, to offer a shoulder to cry on, to say, "I love you" with perfect sincerity in their voice. Every external action, every word, every subtle facial expression is identical to a conscious person's. But the lights are off. There is no feeling of sadness behind their tears, no private internal experience of joy behind their laughter. It's all just an incredibly complex simulation, a script being executed flawlessly. This isn't a horror movie concept. It's a powerful thought experiment designed to poke at the biggest mystery we know: consciousness itself. Philosophers use the idea of a P-zombie to ask a simple but profound question. If you can imagine a being that is physically identical to a human in every single way, down to the last atom, but lacks any inner experience, does that mean consciousness is something extra, something non-physical that can't be explained by just brain chemistry and firing neurons? Because here is the truly unsettling part. How would you ever know? You can only ever be certain of your own mind, your own inner monologue, your own feeling of what it's like to be you. You see other people's behavior, you hear their words, but you can never plug into their mind and experience their world. You have to take it on faith that when they say they're in pain, they feel pain the way you do. For all you know, you could be the only person with the lights on, the only player in a world populated by these perfect empty shells. They are the ultimate NPCs in the single-player game of your existence.
The person who made your coffee this morning, your parents, your partner, they pass every conceivable test for being conscious. But the philosophical zombie argument whispers a chilling possibility that the most profound and unbridgeable gap in the universe isn't the distance between stars, but the silent, uncrossable space between your mind and everyone else's. Qualia. Qualia. This is the technical term for something you understand intimately but can never truly share. It's the reason the color red isn't just a wavelength of light to you, it's a feeling, a specific, ineffable experience of redness. It's the reason a computer can analyze a song's every frequency and tempo, but it can't be moved to tears by it. Imagine trying to describe the taste of chocolate to someone who has never had it. You can use other words, sweet, rich, creamy, bitter, but you can never transfer the actual raw sensation from your mind to theirs. That sensation, unique and private to you, is qualia. It's the sharp sting of a paper cut, the comforting warmth of a blanket, the specific ache of nostalgia. It is the entire texture of your conscious reality, the movie that plays only inside your head. And this is where a truly unsettling thought begins to creep in. You know with absolute certainty that you have this inner world. You experience the bitterness of coffee, the joy of laughter, the deep blue of a twilight sky. You are the audience for your own private cinema. But how do you know anyone else is? Think about the people around you. They act conscious. They recoil from pain. They describe their favorite foods. They talk about their dreams. But what if it's all just an incredibly sophisticated simulation? What if they are philosophical zombies, perfect biological puppets that mimic human emotion and response, but have no inner experience at all? No qualia, no one home. You see them laugh, but you can't feel their joy. You hear them say they're in pain, but you can't access their suffering. There is an unbridgeable gap between your consciousness and theirs. You can never, ever prove that another person has the same rich internal world that you do. You just have to assume they do, because they look and act just like you. But the doubt remains, the chilling possibility that you are the sole conscious observer, the only real player, in a world full of perfectly programmed NPCs. And you would never, ever be able to tell the difference. Intersubjectivity. Intersubjectivity. This is the quiet, invisible bridge that connects your mind to mine. It's perhaps the single greatest argument against the terrifying loneliness of solipsism, the chilling idea that you might be the only conscious being in the entire universe. Imagine you pull up to a red light. Objectively, it's just a specific wavelength of light hitting your retina. Subjectively, you might be in a hurry, feeling a pang of frustration. But the intersubjective reality is the shared, unspoken agreement that red means stop. This rule doesn't exist in the laws of physics. It exists purely in the collective space between our minds. It's a group hallucination we all trust with our lives every single day. This concept is the very foundation of things we consider unbreakably real, like money. A $100 bill is objectively just a piece of fancy paper and ink. It has almost no inherent value. Its power comes entirely from the shared collective belief that it does. When you buy something, you and the cashier are participating in a powerful shared fiction, a story we all agree to live inside. And this is where the NPC theory really begins to fall apart. A non-player character could be programmed to stop for a red light. It can be coded to accept your money for a product. It's just following a script. But can it share an inside joke with you? Can you lock eyes with it from across a crowded room and know, without a single word, that you're both thinking the exact same absurd thing about the person on stage? That sudden flash of mutual understanding, that profound feeling of being truly seen, that's the magic of intersubjectivity. It is the direct experience of two separate subjective worlds briefly and beautifully overlapping.
It's the shared shiver from a beautiful piece of music, the collective grief of a national tragedy, the unspoken rhythm of a perfect conversation. It's the proof that you're not just receiving signals from a simulated world. You are an active node in a vast, intricate network of meaning, woven between conscious minds. This network is what we call culture, society, and love. It's the quiet hum of shared reality that assures you in the dead of night that you are not alone. Wittgenstein's private language argument. Wittgenstein's private language argument. This is a philosophical sledgehammer that questions whether your most private inner feelings can even be put into words, even to yourself. It challenges the very idea of a purely personal experience. Imagine you feel a sensation that you're certain no one else has ever felt, a strange, fleeting flutter in your chest. You decide to give it a name, a word known only to you. Let's call it Ziv. You get a private diary, and every time you feel it, you write down the letter Z. This is your secret code, your private language. But a month later, you feel a similar flutter. Is this Ziv, or is it something new? How can you be sure? You consult your diary, but that just tells you that you called something Z in the past. To check if this new feeling is the same, you have to rely on your memory of the original sensation. But memory is fallible. It shifts and fades. You have no external reference point, no one to ask, hey, does this feel like Ziv to you? You're trying to measure a table, but your ruler is made of soft clay that changes shape every time you touch it. The rule for using your own word has no anchor. This is Wittgenstein's brilliant insight. He argues that for a word to have meaning, there must be a public external way to check if we're using it correctly. Meaning isn't something you create in a vacuum. It's a social agreement. He used a famous analogy, the beetle in the box.
Imagine everyone has a small box, and inside it is something they call a beetle. You can only ever see what's inside your own box. You can't look into anyone else's. For all you know, the person next to you might have a ladybug in their box, or a piece of wood, or nothing at all. And yet, you can all have a perfectly coherent conversation about your beetles. The word beetle works. Why? Because its meaning comes from its public use, not the private, unknowable thing inside the box. So, when you talk about your pain, your joy, or your unique perception of the color red, the words you use only have meaning because we all participate in the same language game. The very tools you use to understand your own consciousness are borrowed from the outside world. Without everyone else, without the so-called NPCs to provide the rules and context, your inner monologue might just be meaningless noise. Your most private thoughts are built with public bricks. The egocentric predicament. The egocentric predicament. This is the ultimate prison, a cell you were born into with walls made of your own consciousness and from which you can never, ever escape. It's not about being selfish or arrogant. It's a simple, unshakable fact of your existence. You can only ever experience the world from one point of view, your own. Every sight, every sound, every thought, every feeling is filtered through the unique lens of you. You are the protagonist of a story that only you can truly read. You can listen to other people's stories, you can watch their movies, but you can never jump inside and experience it directly from their perspective. Imagine you're playing the most immersive first-person video game ever created. You are the player character. You walk through the world, you interact with objects, and you talk to other characters. They respond, they seem to have goals, emotions, backstories. But you know, fundamentally, that they are NPCs, non-player characters. They are sophisticated programs designed to simulate consciousness. The egocentric predicament asks a terrifying question. How do you know your reality isn't exactly that? You have direct access to your own thoughts, your own source code. But for everyone else, you only see their output, their words, their actions. You can never truly know if there's a conscious player behind their eyes. Think about the color red. You know what it looks like to you, But how could you ever prove that my experience of red is the same as yours? We both look at a stop sign and agree, that's red. But your internal sensation, that raw feeling of redness, could be what I call blue. We have no way of ever comparing our internal data. We are locked into our own private theaters of the mind, just assuming everyone else's show is the same. This predicament is the bedrock upon which the deepest philosophical doubts are built. To get through the day, you have to make a leap of faith. You have to assume the laughter you hear isn't just a sound file playing, that the tears you see aren't just a scripted animation. You have to believe that behind the billions of other eyes on this planet, there are other minds, other prisons looking back out at you. But it is and will always be an assumption, a ghost story we tell ourselves to feel a little less alone in the dark.
Solipsism syndrome. Solipsism syndrome. It's the chilling, persistent feeling that you are the only real person in the universe. Have you ever looked into the eyes of a stranger and had a fleeting, bizarre thought? Are they actually conscious, or are they just running a script? For most of us, it's a weird idea that passes, but for some, it's a terrifying reality they can't escape. Imagine walking through a crowded city, but instead of seeing thousands of individual lives, you see thousands of non-player characters, or NPCs. They look real, they talk, they go about their routines, but you feel, deep in your gut, that they lack an inner world. They're just complex automatons, part of an elaborate simulation built entirely around you. Your parents, your friends, your loves, all just incredibly convincing actors in a play where you are the sole member of the audience. This profound sense of detachment from reality has a name: derealization. The world feels like a movie set, thin and fake, and you're just waiting for someone to yell cut. This isn't just a philosophical thought experiment. It's a recognized psychological state, often linked to feelings of extreme isolation and anxiety. It's like the moment in a dream when you suddenly realize you're dreaming. The other characters become flimsy, their motivations transparent, because you understand they are just projections of your own mind. Now imagine feeling that way while you're wide awake, ordering a coffee. The barista smiles, but you can't shake the feeling their smile is just code, a pre-programmed response. The truly maddening part of solipsism is that it's logically impossible to disprove. You can only ever be 100% certain of your own consciousness. You assume I have thoughts and feelings, but you have no direct proof. You're just taking my word for it. And if you are truly the only conscious mind in existence, then who am I? This voice you're hearing right now? Am I just another echo in the simulation? A string of words generated by your own magnificent, lonely mind to pass the time before you fall asleep. The scariest part might be the silence after this video ends, because then you'll truly be alone with your thoughts, the only thoughts that might actually exist.
Brain in a vat. Brain in a vat. This is the thought experiment that takes the simulation hypothesis and makes it deeply, terrifyingly personal. The idea is this: you are not a person listening to this. You are a brain, a disembodied brain floating in a vat of life-sustaining fluid, with your nerve endings connected to a supercomputer. This computer is feeding you a constant stream of electrical impulses, flawlessly simulating everything you have ever experienced. The feeling of the sun on your skin, the taste of your favorite food, the memory of your first kiss. It's all just code. The voice you're hearing right now, it isn't traveling through the air to your ears. It's a signal sent directly to your auditory cortex. Every person you've ever loved, every friend you've ever made, is nothing more than a complex algorithm, an incredibly convincing NPC in your own private single-player universe. Think about it. How could you possibly prove this isn't true? Any evidence you gather would itself be part of the simulation. If you decided to go find the vat,
The computer would simply simulate the journey. It would simulate you finding a vat and a brain inside it, and you'd feel a sense of relief, all while your real self remained floating, plugged into the machine. It's a perfect prison because the walls are made of your own consciousness. You can't see the bars because you are the bars. This idea attacks the very foundation of what you consider real.
It suggests that your entire existence is an elaborate, catered illusion. And the most chilling part isn't just that your world might be fake, but that you are profoundly, utterly alone in it. You are the sole audience for a performance so perfect you can't even tell you're at the theater. So, as you feel the weight of your body in your chair or the air in your lungs, ask yourself, is that a real sensation, or is it just another beautiful, convincing line of code? Boltzmann brain. Boltzmann brain. Imagine for a moment that your entire life, your first kiss, the taste of coffee this morning, the feeling of sun on your skin, is a complete fabrication. Not a lie told by someone else, but a random accident of cosmic proportions. This is the unnerving territory of the Boltzmann brain. The idea comes from a simple yet terrifying application of physics and probability. We know the universe tends towards chaos, a state called entropy. It's a vast soup of particles constantly bumping into each other in random ways. Now, give that soup an almost infinite amount of time. The laws of probability say that eventually, by sheer dumb luck, those particles will arrange themselves into, well, anything. Think of it like this. Imagine dumping 1 trillion Scrabble tiles into a box and shaking it for 1 billion years. What's more likely? That you'd pull out the entire perfectly ordered text of War and Peace? Or that you'd pull out a single, perfectly formed paragraph that just thinks it's from War and Peace? Here's where it gets unsettling. For a universe like ours to exist, with its consistent laws, billions of galaxies, and long structured history leading up to you, is an event of staggering improbability. It's the cosmic equivalent of pulling out War and Peace. But for a single, isolated brain to pop into existence out of the void, complete with a lifetime of fake memories, statistically, that's just a single paragraph.
It's far, far more likely. This leads to a chilling conclusion. If you have to bet on which is more probable, that you are a real person in a real, impossibly complex universe, or that you are a fleeting, disembodied consciousness that just flickered into being with the illusion of a past, the cold, hard math suggests you should bet on being the brain. It means your memories of family, of learning to ride a bike, of this very moment, all could be nothing more than a preloaded configuration of atoms. They aren't records of events, they are the event, a cosmic dream that will dissipate as quickly as it formed. It's a paradox that physicists use to test their theories, a check on our own certainty. But the thought lingers, doesn't it? A whisper from the chaotic void, asking you, how can you be so sure your reality isn't just the most elaborate and most lonely accident in history? Quantum immortality. Quantum immortality. It's the theory that your consciousness can never truly experience its own end. Imagine a gun pointed at your head, but it's wired to a quantum measurement. If a particle is measured spinning up, the gun fires. If it spins down, it just clicks. A 50-50 shot. You pull the trigger. In the chilling logic of the many worlds interpretation, the universe instantly splits in two. In one branch, the bullet finds its mark. It's over. But you can't be aware of your own absence. Your consciousness, the very thing that is you, must by definition follow the path of continued existence. So you find yourself in the other reality, heart pounding, hearing only a harmless click. You pull the trigger again. The world shatters into 2 more timelines. A version of you dies, but your awareness flows onward, always into the branch where you survive, again and again, forever. Think of it like a video game where you are the only player. When your character faces an impossible jump, you don't experience the fall. You just reappear at the start of the jump, ready to try again.
Your lived experience becomes a highlight reel of impossible successes, a single, unbroken playthrough where you somehow dodge every bullet and survive every fall. From your point of view, you become a living miracle. You walk away from car crashes that should have been fatal. You survive terminal illnesses. The world around you might begin to feel strange. A landscape of near misses haunted by the echoes of timelines where you weren't so lucky. You would watch everyone you know grow old and fade away, while you just keep going, an eternal witness as the laws of probability bend into impossible shapes to keep you alive. And this is the profoundly lonely part. This special protection applies only to you. From your mother's perspective, there is a very real universe where she grieves at your funeral, but you will never see it. You only ever perceive the world where you live on, while the people you love become the ones who might suddenly disappear from your story. It paints a picture of a universe where your consciousness is the one unwavering constant, the only true player in a game full of non-player characters, each one expendable in the grand, solitary narrative of your unending life.
Last Thursdayism. This is the unsettling idea that the entire universe, including you and all your memories, sprang into existence last Thursday. Everything you think you know, your childhood, the history of the world, the slow formation of galaxies, was all created in situ just a few days ago. That scar on your knee from when you were 7, it was created last Thursday, along with the vivid memory of the fall. The love you feel for your family, a brand new, pre-installed emotion, complete with a lifetime of fabricated memories to support it. The argument isn't that your memories are fake in the sense that they're lies. It's that they are fundamentally new, designed to feel ancient. And here's the truly maddening part. You can never, ever prove it wrong. Think about it. What evidence could you possibly present? A photograph from last year? That photo was created last Thursday. A history book detailing ancient civilizations? Also created last Thursday. Every single piece of evidence, every memory, every scientific measurement pointing to a past older than a week was simply part of the initial creation. It's a perfect, unfalsifiable trap. Imagine booting up a video game for the first time, but loading a saved file that has 100 hours of progress. The character has a history, skills, relationships with other NPCs. To that character, their past is rich and real. But for you, the player, it all materialized the instant you clicked load. Last Thursdayism proposes that someone or something just loaded our universal save file. This deepens the solipsistic dread. It means that not only might the people around you be NPCs, but your entire history with them is just a convincing backstory. Those shared jokes, the promises, the tears, they aren't memories of events that happened. They're just lines of code in your programming, implanted to make the simulation feel authentic. It makes your past feel like a ghost. So the next time you look at an old photo, a photo of someone you love, you have to wonder, are you remembering a life you've lived? Or are you just admiring the detailed work of a set designer who finished the job last Thursday?
Open individualism. Open individualism. It's the idea that every conscious life that has ever been lived or ever will be lived is being experienced by a single universal subject, and that subject is you. Your most fundamental assumption is that the I looking out from your eyes is a private, unique thing locked inside your skull. It began sometime after you were born, and it will end when you die. Everyone else has their own separate I. That's the default setting for being human. But what if that feeling of personal identity is an illusion? Imagine consciousness is a single gamer, and every life is a different character in a cosmic RPG. The gamer plays a life as a Roman legionary. Game over. Then they start a new game as a medieval farmer. Game over. Then as an astronaut in the 22nd century. Then as the person listening to this right now. Each time, the character loads in with a new body, a new set of memories, and a new personality. They have complete amnesia of all the previous playthroughs. To the character, this is their one and only life. They feel totally unique, but the player, the silent observer experiencing it all, is always the same. Under this view, the differences between you and me aren't differences in who is experiencing, but simply in what is being experienced. Your memories, your hopes, your fears, they are the unique content of this particular playthrough. My memories and my fears are the content of another. The software is different, but the user is identical. This flips the entire idea of solipsism on its head. The question stops being, am I the only real one and is everyone else an NPC? Instead, it suggests there are no NPCs at all. Every person you have ever met is another one of your own lives. The stranger you passed on the street isn't a background character. They are you experiencing a Tuesday from a different perspective. The person you love the most and the person who hurt you the most are both being experienced by the same entity that is currently experiencing your life. So when you look into someone else's eyes, you have to wonder, are you just looking into a mirror, seeing another one of your own playthroughs from a level you can't remember starting?